Once upon a time, there was a secret place, the Garden Islands of Banda.
You've seen in the dance the purity of a small girl there, hoping that some days when she grew big, she will become the mother and life will continue as usual.
Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky.
And nutmeg is like human being, from the little knob to the time it's ripe is 9 months. Nutmeg needs volcanic soil, a rainfall of 3,000 millimeters a year, and a non-polluted sea wind. You put a factory in and all the nutmeg will die. Nutmeg needs a shade, but at the time the Dutch used the big trees to, but we changed the system. We put a little stag plant as a babysitter, to protect it. So we showed to the Bananese, below the trees it doesn't grow very well. And normally the Bandanese get their seedling from the drops of the birds. I love Banda very much. I grew up here. Until I was 15, I moved to Java. It's a beautiful place, a lot of food, a lot of fish, a lot of friends. People are unique here. When you're born here, you are Bandanese. There's no discrimination. Christian, Muslim, they mix together, Chinese. They were against the Dutch because of the suppression by their own people, especially the children that became Eurasian and became Bandanese. And slowly they don't speak Dutch anymore. Or if they speak Dutch, Bazaar Dutch, Suddenly the law of Banda changed. That everybody that is born in Banda is a Bandanese, no matter where you come from. I told you before that when Dutch occupied this island in 1621, a few women contacted Jan Pearson Koen's number 2, that is Sonk. They asked Sonk, now you have occupied our island. In fact, you rule our island with all your regulation, and are we allowed to continue our adat? So the Dutch said, okay, fair enough, you can do it, but only with 5 men. They were forced to choose 5 remaining men that is not killed. And of course, those are the boys below 15.
How much tears do you need to clean the blood spilled?
Sudah Pak, pegang berapa? Ya lagi. Vice President of the Republic of Indonesia, and the proclamator, and Shahrir, who became the first Prime Minister of Indonesia. And I saw two of them standing there. It's not a Dutch boat. It's white boat. We call it white boat. This gentleman looked very pale. And I knew at the time I was 8 that when you look pale, they must come from Bovendigul, the place of where they put all the naughty politicians in exile. Oh, this is the boy that helped us. So I was talking to them and they asked me, please show us the place where we can swim. Call your friend. We go out swimming and walking in the bush and everywhere. So I organized it, and then I introduced them to my grandmother. In the meantime, my grandfather was dead. So and then Shahrir was very close to my grandmother. My grandmother told me, Shahrir, when I die, you better stay in my house now, because then you look after my grandchildren. That was the start. This is the house where Hatta was exiled for 6 years. Shahrir stayed here, but then Shahrir moved. But I remain here to help him with putting of his letters, picking up the mail back, where I know Hatta reads New Rotterdamse Koran because economic faction there. The Groene Amsterdam, socialistic, goes to Shahrir. Pemandangan goes to Hatta, Suara Umum to Syahrir, I must know. And I know how much the port's seaplane. And I said, Hatta, your letter now is 20 cents. Saturday morning and Sunday, we all go swimming and sailing. We didn't know that Hatta could not swim. Also Syahrir a bit. So we taught them how to swim by just asking them to hold the dugout canoe and push to sea, and they will fight for their life. And they can swim now. But one thing about Hatta, he swims with his tennis shoes. We are afraid that it attracts sharks. The swimming suit reaches below his knee. Syahrir is pleasant and follow us all the time. I remember exactly I was at second grade. I come home, there was Hatta behind the typewriter, the cook near him, and the cook said, beras 6 sen, tak tak tak, minyak kelapa 3 sen, because the cuka 2 sen, ikan 5 sen, tuna 5 cents, kangkong was 2 cents, how to like. So and then I came, that must be they call them Dr. Anders economy, that must be the guy that's very stingy, economic. Hatta said, no, you're wrong. Have to split the thing with Syahrir. Hatta, we eat with him. Every time there is chicken, there must always be the bunga papaya. Bunga papaya is good for you, also against malaria. We don't even have mosquito in Banda. We don't need to, there's no mosquito here. Hatta gave me 25 cents in the weekend because a lot of kids come along. We must cook our rice. And he said, here is 25 cents, 6 cents for rice and 17 cents for corned beef. You're sick and tired eating corned beef every week. So we changed the menu to tuna with only 5 cents. And altogether it's always 10 to 12 cents. And then the remaining we split. So one evening, before going to bed, we have to open our trousers. Syahrir said, where do you get all this money from? Saya bilang, sisa belanja, the remaining of the, so we were afraid because I have to ask Hatta why they give you so much money. We couldn't sleep. This is not corruption. This is not corruption. In the end, in the evening, Syahrir told Hatta, you give the boys too much money. And Hatta just smiled. You know what he thought in his mind? That there's always good businessmen. Syahrir like Tchaikovsky, like Mozart, and I still remember Debussy. So I told Syahrir, and Hatta said, you are too westernized. What? Westernized? He even dream in Dutch. Hatta even dream in Dutch, The school began at 2, minus 1 minute, back door is closed. Very nice with Hatta because tea time start at 4, because he's going to jog at 4:30, but every time there always waffle, Waffle. So when the war started, on the 8th of December 1941, there was a cable from the Governor General that you will be sent to Sukabumi and a boat will pick you up. To Hatta Syahrir send the cable, we will not go if our adopted children are not allowed to come along. And then they said, how many? 6. Then the colonial government said, only 4, 5. Agree, okay. In the end of January, American plane arrived, Catalina. Bullet holes. There was captain said, I'm very sorry, gentlemen, but you are overweight by 160 kilos. Unless you leave your luggage, the whole family can go. So Hatta took 2 books, one the Atlas, and Syahrir left his underwood. I told Hatta, no, Pa, I'm 65 kilo. The American got up to 92. Hatta said, okay, fair enough. You stay behind, don't forget my books in the stool. And Hatta said, the boat is coming, still pick us up. Boat never came. So a Japanese ship that goes to Java from Ambon. I went with a sailing boat to Ambon, and I showed Hatta's letter. And the Japanese thought that Hatta was a Japanese. Because we have a Japanese exile here. Oh, okay, you can go to Surabaya, but it costs you 15 guilders. I have only 12 guilders. So people help, and I go to Surabaya with only 50 cents in my pocket. I was only going to become 15 years. And we arrive in Jakarta and so on, so on. And here is the service. Thank you very much. And then when they returned to Java, they brought us along. Of course, staying with all those exiles, I learned about politics. I became a nationalist. So I became an independent fighter. And the Japanese came, situation getting worse. Fascistic. We have to march and cut the hair, and we must learn Japanese. And then I was in the revolution, I was fighting in Surabaya, I was wounded, and then I was sent to England to go to school. I came back. I had to fight again in Ambon as a honorary captain, whatever it is. And then at age of 24, 25, I represent Indonesia in ITU, International Telecommunication Union. It was a good time because we are under United Nations, the so-called United Nations agency. My salary is $1,000. At the time, Volkswagen cost $420. Hillman car cost $600. Every month I can buy a car, a small one. And you rent a big flat condominium for maybe only $80. Swiss franc was 4.2 to US dollar. So means $80 is nearly 360 US dollar. You can get a very big. And then after that was in 51. 52 I returned. 53 they appointed me as a diplomat, press and culture attaché. And I have to look also after the International Telecommunication Union for change of frequency and so on and so on. So I was a diplomat from Switzerland, sent to Austria, to go to Hungary. I was in Hungary when Malater staged a revolution. You know, I was in the right moment, in the right time, on the wrong moment. And then I was sent to the Philippines. When Suharto visited Germany, I was the protocol ADC, arranged things. But later on, when Sukarno decided to change the whole political structure and use guided democracy to educate, I think this is going to be wrong. Because one colonel was against Sukarno, and Jakarta allowed me to interview this colonel. My mistake was, we should have traveled to Singapore, and then from Singapore to Jakarta by plane change, you know. It cost $700 at the time, a lot of money. You know, having adventure blood. In the Philippines, I was very active in all this, visiting all the islands. From Zamboanga to Celebes, it's only one night. It costs you $10. Why should I use the and all these correspondents that came along? Nino Aquino was one of them, a good friend of mine. We have Time and Life, The next day, all their interview was in all newspaper in the world. So Jakarta was very angry. He called me to come to Jakarta. But when I arrived in Jakarta, a friend in a foreign office said, they're going to arrest you. So I just finished, went to the Philippines, got my stuff. In the meantime, while I was in the Philippines, my wife left for Jakarta, so I couldn't run away. So I was alone. So I went to Europe, I went everywhere, and in the end, the colonels, they told me Sukarno, so they proclaim a gigung regierung, Republic of Indonesia, but Revolutionary Republic of Indonesia. We don't want to listen to Sukarno. We don't want to be separate from Indonesia, but we, Island Celebes, Sumatra, and any other that like to join, that was the situation. We have here an adat that the Chakrili must come out, is our army. The Kora-Kora is our navy. Ulu Balantenga represent the orang kaya that was killed. And the right Kapitan is looking after the sea, and the left Kapitan is land. There when Drake drop his cannon, so he can get more nutmeg, yeah.
Francis Drake?
Francis Drake, yeah. Foundation, called Drake, called Wallace, everything. They never listened to me. I told them Drake was here. They don't want to. Because in our history, they talk on VOC or Spanish, Portuguese, but there was a stranger that came soon after before the Portuguese left, 1580. He mentioned that they sailed southwards and they got stuck in a crab island, still crab island. I told Jacques Cousteau, and he was quite deep there. Just don't give me problem to dive there. He said, don't give me problem. Raise your bed! Huh?
Dinner.
You wear what?
The orange.
Salamon.
Yes.
Salamon, yeah? Dua kali, satu kali? Only one or two? One. Yeah?
Dua kali.
50 satu tiket.
اللهم اجعل القرآن لكم من قبل موسى وفي القيامة شافعا ومن النار ذكرا وحيدا من المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات ارفع لهم درجات وبعثهم الحسنات وكفر عنهم السيئات ويدخلهم جنات يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فارحمي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين
سلام على المرسلين الحمد لله رب العالمين.
people will choose as they like. They're not influenced by any politicians that, please choose me. No. You give the money, they will choose somebody else.
Yang akan disiapkan oleh Pak Des Alwi, kemudian diserahkan oleh Bapak Insinyur Haji Said Asgaf.
Piala Gubernur yang 21.
Piala Gubernur yang ke-21, luar biasa. Tepuk tangan untuk Piala Gubernur. Juara pertama dengan gol Pulau Ai. Tepuk tangan untuk Pulau Ai. Sebentar Pak. Untuk juara kedua dari Joko Selamon diserahkan oleh Duta Besar Belanda dari Singapura. Untuk nama Sawar, tepuk tangan untuk nama Sawar. Raja Wali diserahkan oleh orang Amerika. Yang mewakili desa Kampung Baru kan?
One thing that helps me a lot, nobody can touch or destroy coral. They will have the fishermen as their enemy. If you bomb a fish, you're not welcome. They kill you sometimes. They jail you, they do anything. Because the people need the little anchovy that lay their eggs on this coral. And they know exactly. If the coral was destroyed, that means no baits. The buyers teach you not to only knock the fish on the head and ice it, Because there are some boats that is having refrigeration 50 below zero. They just want to frozen the fish so it can be sent to Tokyo. But one thing that is very mean, I check everywhere. Can you imagine? These ships, they buy tuna for $1.50. And yet, at the auction in Tokyo, the tuna is sold for $30, $35.
Oh, you got 100.
Yeah. No. This is the normal tuna, not the blue. So okay, let's see that the ships they send the tuna by plane cost them. Let's see the price a kilo $1.50, which is impossible. Let's consider they send it $5. When they reach Japan, the cost of buying and selling and whatever is $5. If you make 100% profit, you sell for $10. What happened to the $20 or $30? Who gets that? It's very mean. I can't do much because the governor of Sulawesi, Gorontalo, Fadil Muhammad said, Pades, no tuna can come out from this under my district less than $3. Can you imagine Balinese get $3? Oh my God. Now yes, one of fishermen is happy. I mean, we have, like I told you before, if you catch fish, you're all right. But if you grow nutmeg, you will live for only 4 to 5 months from the earning of the nutmeg. So they must have another job, that is catching fish. Before I allowed them to, we pay for a outboard motor like 15, 25, no 40 horsepower. In Banda, when you have a motor, you get two parts. So the tuna, the owner of the wooden boat gets one part, the guy that fish gets one part, chief, the tanasi, the captain of the boat gets 2 parts. So I told them, okay, what you do, you don't need to give me 2 parts, but you give me only 1 part to pay for your motorboat. It works very well.
Yang tiga kasih berapa? 80. Hah? 81 kan? Mana? 20. Berapa? Berapa apa? Hah? 25 sudah. Cek balak. Tiga itu 90. Kembali 3. Master.
Kembali 3 ya.
Terima kasih. Master nama siapa? Woi, bisa kata ada 3. 90. Woi, yang kasih 30. 390. Ya 2. Woi, tarat.
rain, I'll set it clean. I'll set my kiss. Oh, it's time so blue. I realize that's good. I'm trying.
Wrote me a letter. Dear King des Albi. I have many friends who visit Banda. Is it true that you are the king that opened his palace for the tourists and sing for them?
Those happy hours we once knew, so long ago, it make me feel blue. They say the time here's a broken heart, but time stood still when we're apart. I can't stop wanting you. It's useless to say, for I lead my life in dreams of yesterday.
Dan ada Belanda mau monopoli mengenai perdagangan pala, dan akhirnya karena tidak bisa dipastikan ditetapkan ada perdamaian reda yang dalamnya Pulau Rum ditukar pada Manhattan.
Selamat ketemu lagi. but I'm satisfied. I mean, my daughter's all right, because Raymond is handicapped. But I have 4 grandsons. They're very much like Banda, you know. You have to see Banda every year, otherwise they get, you know. To make somebody like this place is very good. It must be from small. Most of my grandchildren went to school in Banda, at least elementary school, and they know. This is the last of the Banda army. There, it will erupt every 100 years. I give you one. Last one was 1988. Before there, it was 1810, and then 1720, and then 614. I don't know what happened. This mountain has helped the people a lot. It protects us from the west wind. A lot of farmers grow long beans, but when it's angry, it's the biggest terrorist. In 1614, when the Dutch were about to land, suddenly the guy began to explode. So that's a run for their life. I said this floating stone, you know. One of the girls in the hotel put some oil in my hair, you know, and it was baby oil. And then I was with 2 grandchildren, and now they're 9, 10. We all used to play polo. They have their place, so I always win, and they always try to blame me for they're losing, you know. And they will shout, "Of course, how can we touch the ball is slippery because you're wearing baby oil in your hair?" They must be loud even in front of all the visitors. In fact, the Raja there, called Datuk Puti, he donated the island to Queen Elizabeth I in 1602, but she died in 1601.